Hi, Bert Yankover. Um, and a lot of people have been asking me online about how I landed up here on a boat in Tortola. Um, a very long, tedious story. But I have always loved the water, swimming since the age of 4 or 5, competing in swimming from the age of 8 until the age of 21 at college, and being a lifeguard um, as a young adult at Jones Beach, and surfing on the South Shore of Long Island. So I've always been a water person and had always hoped to come back as a dolphin. So I figured I'd take a minute or two to go over what got me onto a sailboat. It goes back to August of 2008 when I was looking for something to occupy some time in the summer. And I looked online and found a local sailing school, a gentleman, Captain Bob Sawyer, and the Sawyer Sailing School in Harpswell, who had an American Sailing Association course for bareboat chartering. And I thought that was a great thing to do in the summer, some of my time off. And I signed up and took a course and spent the equivalent of 7 full days, not in a row, but over a couple weeks, learning how to handle I believe he had an approximately a 30-foot island packet in Harpswell, Maine. And I realized that I loved sailing, that there was nothing I liked more recently than getting out on the water in a stiff breeze and letting the boat take you and heeling 30 degrees, 40 degrees, and having a great time. Things were quiet in my mind at that point, but shortly thereafter, just before my son was about to get married, I took him on an excursion to Florida, to the Offshore Sailing School, and that was in July of 2010, 2 years later, where we did a 7-day U.S. Sailing Association course at the Offshore Sailing School in Captiva, Captiva Island, Florida, where we learned how to sail first on I believe it was a 26-foot Colgate boat, sailboat, and then a 42-foot Dufour sailboat, which was a lot of fun. Great big boat, fast boat. And then I didn't do much sailing. Still working as a hospitalist at Maine Med until November of 2012, when I had the opportunity to be part of what's called a flotilla. Flotilla, run by Offshore, was in the British Virgin Islands, of all places, out of Tortola. And so we went for 7 days on a 50-foot Beneteau, and I was fortunate enough to be on the boat with one Fatty Goodlander, who is a prolific writer, humorist, satirist, and circumnavigator with his wife. And it really brought into mind the fact that one could live on a boat and enjoy oneself and sail around harbors or islands or the Caribbean or the world. And I started to investigate how to go about doing that. On that flotilla, we went and started from Roadtown toward Tola, went to Soper's Hole, West End, around, and not in this order. We went to Jobs Van Dyke, Virgin Gorda, and Anegada, and then came back to the center in Roadtown again. It was a fantastic trip with great sailing and great winds. We had a ball, learned a lot, and between Fatty Goodlander and Kevin Helmsley, who is one of the program directors at Offshore, I really got the bug and started to think of very little else besides sailing, as some of you might know. I started looking on Yacht World at boats, and I had been introduced to Fatty Goodlander's boat, which is a Vauquier 1983, I believe, 43-foot blue water boat, which is really quite beautiful. And started to look at boats like that for the next couple of years. As time went on, I realized that I would eventually want to buy a boat. And in September of 2015, I went to the Newport Boat Show to try to get a better feeling for what the different kinds of boats had to offer. And I was struck by the fact that what people were calling blue water boats, which have in the past been the only ones to sail around the world, which were heavy Cadillacs of the ocean. They weren't terribly fast, but they were well engineered, phenomenally well built with all hardwoods. And starting in the early 80s, they were now being made out of fiberglass hulls. And so I was looking at boats from the early 80s, and I was looking from the boats in all the way up to the 205, 206 era. I soon realized that if you buy an old boat from the 1983, 84, 85, it might be affordable, but it was going to need constant care. All sailboats need constant care, but everything would need to be replaced from the start, and so that the stories of people spending X amount of dollars and then X amount of dollars more to fix it up didn't leave me very enthusiastic. I became more aware of production boats like the Beneteau that I had been on, and came to see some boats by Jeanneau, which is owned by the Beneteau Group, and found that it would be a nice boat to live in because they're open and very airy, as opposed to the blue water boats of times gone by that I could afford, which were very dark and closed in and made me feel a little claustrophobic. So I eventually decided that I could forego ocean traveling and look at boats that were a little newer, still maybe 10 years old. And I decided, after seeing the Jeanneau at the Newport Boat Show, that was the boat that I was very interested in. Had a good reputation at that time, 2003, 2004. They were making very good, well put together production boats. And so I started looking specifically for that kind of boat in 2015 and the end of 2015 and early in 2016. In February and May of 2016, I found a number of boats that were 45 feet long and 49 feet long. They were in Florida. I was hoping that I could get them down to the price that I thought I might be able to afford and still have a little bit of money left over to fix them up. And eventually looked at a 49-foot DS deck salon, which is notable for slightly higher cabins, aft cabins, and a nice large master cabin up front. The boat that I eventually got, after going through 2 inspections total, the third inspection was here in Tortola on Perseverance 2, which turned out to be even larger. It was a 54-foot boat. Had been lightly chartered and was in adequately good shape. It's not brand new, but it's has great bones, has good mechanicals, need a little work, and I got it for the price that I could afford, and even had money left over for some repairs. So that's what started the move from South Portland, Maine to Nanny Key, Tortola. And in the next video, I will explain a little bit about the voyage down here, which was quite an affair. And in the third video, or the end of the second video, I will tell you a little bit about what it is to land in a foreign country and try to establish residency, or at least permission to stay and to drive a car and get a license and register that car. And so that'll be in the second video. I hope to upload this to YouTube. I will put it on my YouTube feed, the reference, and so you can follow me, or you can subscribe on YouTube. I'll have 3 followers, or maybe 4. I'm calling this YouTube series Grumpy Old Man and the Sea. Thank you for watching, if you did make it this far, and I'll see you soon.